And we are back for round 2 of Wednesday Night Standard here at GameSwap in not necessarily blustery, but very fall weathery Mason, Ohio.
Yes, a little brisk.
Yeah,
little brisk.
On the left, we have Dan Kutzler playing Grixis Reanimator.
Spicy.
And on the right, Jake Valentine with Temur Energy. We debated on not having a Temur Energy on camera 2 rounds in a row, but you know, it is one of the best decks, if not the best deck in the format. It's tough to get away from that.
Yes.
So here we go. Now, I think Dan is playing very similar to the kind of deck that I was just talking about last round that dismantled me.
Yes.
This past Friday. Not the reanimation package that I played, or I did not play against a reanimation package. Dan clearly has that.
Yes.
But we know that he has Goblin Dark Dwellers, and we know that he has the Scarab God.
Yes.
Harbinger of Doom.
And I feel as if his deck is what I think it is, you know, there's removal, there is a lot of haymakers that Temur Energy is going to have a hard time dealing with.
Indeed.
Yes.
Scarab God being one of them.
Yes, absolutely.
Big time. Negate doesn't negate that.
No. And I think I see a Magma Spray and a Doomfall in Dan's hand.
Doomfall, a pretty well-positioned card,
yes,
in my opinion.
Yes. And one that post-rotation I feel like is going to be even better than it is currently. If Mono Red tends to take a slower step as we feel it will, that card is going to be a lot better.
And energy is still going to be a thing.
Yes.
And with it, Bristling Hydra.
Yes.
And Doomfall, an excellent answer.
Yes, very much so. It looks as if Dan has 2 Goblin Dark Dwellers stuck in his hand. He just drew a Choked Estuary. Still has that Doomfall. And I can't see what's on the left of his hand, but I'm assuming it's another heavy hitter. So Dan's just going to, you know, take a plan where he's going to hit his land drops, remove the early threats, and then
play something big.
Play something large.
Yep.
2 for 1 his opponent. Now, Temur Energy is something that is able to, you know, generally 2 for 1 their opponent as well. All their creatures either bring energy or, like Whirler Virtuoso,
right.
He makes bodies. Rogue Refiner replaces itself, things of that nature.
Right.
So, Dan drawing a
Liliana Death Mastery.
Liliana Death Majesty.
Yeah, Majesty, that one. Not Mastery. Okay, so this is kind of a take, I think, on the blue-black Reanimator deck that has been putting up results on Magic Online.
Yes.
Uses things like strategic planning.
Yes.
To put big fatties in its graveyard, then plays the Death Majesty and brings them back.
Dan playing a version that's playing red for what I would assume is Goblin Dark Dwellers.
Magma Spray, obviously.
Magma Spray.
Yep.
So early removal. And he's taking out the Servant of the Conduit. Let's see if he's got that 5th land.
Jake missing a land drop there, but not a bad threat to put on the board against a control deck.
No, not at all.
Could be a lot worse.
All right, Dan missing his land drop, but plays a Gifted Aetherborn. Gifted Aetherborn's kind of funny in this type of deck, where Dan is playing a 3-color deck, and he's playing a double black 2-drop.
Yeah, just there is a roadblock for Ramanep Red.
Yes.
Would not be in this deck otherwise. If Ramanep Red was not a deck.
No, not at all. And maybe the splashes for blue. Maybe it's black-red based. I would have to imagine that it is to be able to play Gifted Aetherborn and Magma Spray.
And Dark Dweller.
So the blue splash being for what appears to be the strategic planning he just drew, as well as the Scarab God.
Possibly Supreme Will.
Yes.
Maybe some negates in the sideboard. That kind of thing. Yep.
I can't imagine Dan wanting to take anything here other than a land. Want to start throwing down those Goblin Dark Dwellers for Jake to try to deal with.
Yeah. I mean, considering how long he's thinking about this one, I would have to imagine that there's not a land in that 3.
No, no.
Well,
Maybe there was.
yeah.
Pitched a swamp and a grasp of darkness.
What do we know? You know, they're his magic cards. He can play with them how he wants.
Yep. And obviously, we don't know the complete and utter contents of Dan's hand.
Right, but chose a spell over a land because didn't make the land drop there.
Okay. Yep. So he took a grasp of darkness, it appears, and Jake is going to untap, and he's going to cast a Chandra, and Dan is going to be looking at his hand of 5 drops and willing a 5th land to the top of his deck.
Indeed. So I didn't like Jake's position until that Chandra result.
Yeah, right?
Funny how that works.
Yeah. So Dan has his 5th land.
Planeswalker into an open board. Turns out it's good.
Yes.
News at 11.
So if I'm in Dan's spot, and I've got a hand of doubled Goblin Dark Dwellers and Lilianas, I think I play Goblin Dark Dwellers and Doomfall here. Take a look at Jake's hand. It's going to get minus with that Chandra, but you're going to have to put something out there right now. And regardless of what you put out, that Liliana is going to die very quickly.
Right.
So really, at this point, you just kind of need to see what Jake has going on in his hand and try to take out a threat and just hope he has some, blank removal, which actually it looks like he does. He has double Magma Spray in his hand.
Oh, yeah. And in a braid.
Yes. And it looks like he just flashed back that Magma Spray on the token. Now, Jake is probably going to mine... No, he's going to... Maybe he has a Glory Bringer in his hand. No, he does not.
Interesting.
Maybe he's just planning on double Magma Spraying that Goblin Dark Dwellers.
I mean...
And that's what he's going to do.
Yeah. They're not doing much else.
No.
To be fair. I mean, normally we're not looking to 2-for-1 ourselves.
No, absolutely not.
But there are certain game states, certain contexts in which that is actually the correct choice. I would say that this is one of them.
My thought process would be, you're playing a deck with the Scarab God, which if the deck does tend to go late, you will want those Magma Sprays to deal with that Scarab God.
That's a good point.
So he might just be trying to go, I need to ultimate this Chandra as quickly as possible. I'm not going to win this late game. This is how I win this late game.
And that is something that, newer players, players less familiar with the rules may not know.
Yeah.
They may think that Magma Spray has to deal the killing blow.
Yeah.
To exile. When in fact...
Not the case.
Not the case at all. Yeah. If it says if the creature dies this turn, or when the creature dies this turn, exile it instead, or something along those lines.
And I'm assuming that Jake only has the 2 Magma Sprays main deck.
I would hope so.
Yes. And he plays two creatures, we'll just call them chump blockers, out there for Goblin Dark Dwellers to not hit this Chandra that's about to ultimate. And Dan, without an answer to it, this game's pretty much over. Looks as if he drew a Champion of Wits. He has Devil Liliana, Champion of Wits.
Yeah, I'm trying to imagine what he could possibly draw that would be reasonable to have in his deck.
Yeah.
Lightning Strike hasn't been printed yet. So
I would, unless he's playing Ruinous Path,
Okay.
That would be the only thing I could think of right here that...
So is that an actual Magic card that he just...
It looks as if...
Is that like a game day promo of some sort?
Is that the Essence Extraction, maybe?
Huh.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
I've never seen that promo before. I'm just taking a stab in the dark. I saw double black.
Your eyes are way better than mine.
And I had just been telling my girlfriend I need glasses.
Fortunately, she doesn't watch the stream, right?
No, she does.
Oh, really?
Yes.
All right. Well, you're screwed now, buddy.
So, all right. So Jake is going to ultimate, and unless he just draws lands the rest of the game, well, I'm just going to scoop him up anyways. Dan's not having any of that. Well, to be fair, the deck plays 22 lands. 3 of them cycle.
Yeah.
The rest are spells, so it
Yeah.
would have to be a pretty large clump for Jake not to hit 2 spells, 3 spells there. I still would make him play it out.
Yeah, I think I make him kill me. You never know.
I always make him kill me, I'll be honest with you. I'll take the Reed Duke approach any day.
Sure.
Make him kill me, make him have it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And, I mean, you know, depending on the level at which you're playing, that may get you out of a situation one every 500 games.
Yes.
You know, who knows, right? It's tough to even put a number on something like that.
But it has happened.
But it does happen.
It does happen.
Yeah, people miss lethal all the time. We see it even on SCG streams.
Absolutely.
During the top 8.
Yeah.
Like, those things happen.
We see it in Pro Tour.
Well,
I think the Mardu Vehicles gentleman could have animated his manland and swung for lethal, and he missed that.
Which Pro Tour are we talking about?
The one where there were like 3 or 4 Mardu Vehicles in the top 8.
Huh. I don't remember that.
He actually, I think he's the one that won the Pro Tour. I cannot remember his name.
Esper Berthoud or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there was a match on camera that he could have animated his manland and killed the person. He gave the person an extra turn. He ended up winning the game anyways, but he gave the person an extra turn, and...
Huh, right there in the top 8 of the Pro Tour, huh?
It didn't happen in the top 8. It was just another feature match that he happened to be on.
Maybe day 2?
Yes.
Okay, so, I mean, here's a guy, a Pro Tour winner.
Yes.
A Pro Tour champion.
Yes.
Missing lethal.
Yes.
It happens.
Yes. It does happen quite frequently.
Yep. Yeah, you know, for the most part, I'm in the same camp. Make him kill you. Make him have it. Make him see it. That sort of thing.
Yes.
Sometimes, though, I just get so disgusted. I'm just like, you know what? I'm ready to draw a fresh 7 and try again.
I can't even sit here and begin to want to watch the rest of this game. Watch you fumble around and try to kill me.
Right. Yeah. 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 I mean, when people are beating me in spite of themselves.
Yes.
You know, that's yeah. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
We'll go to the next one.
I feel as if that happens to me more in limited than in constructed, but it happens.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
There's some sage advice there.
There's definitely been a couple local modern events here at GameSwap where, yeah. Yeah, you know, sometimes it just does not matter what you do, and sometimes it doesn't matter what you do or your opponent does.
Yeah.
They're still going to beat you.
Absolutely. Thankfully, we're watching a standard format that is A, healthy.
Yeah.
There are, you know, multiple decks. And B, even your bad matchups, you can still win.
Right.
So.
Yep, and that's why, you know, because these days I other than weekend events, you know, PPTQs, IQs, SCGs, that sort of thing, the only local events that I play will be Friday nights. There was a period of time where I was playing Tuesday night and Thursday night Modern and Friday night Modern, and it just started to get to be a lot.
Yeah.
And here at GameSwap, they run both a Modern FNM as well as a Standard FNM, and I have chosen to stick with Standard despite Modern being my more favorite format.
Yeah.
Because of the difference in variance.
Yes.
And how much play there is to Standard right now.
Okay.
And, you know, a lot of the time, not a lot of the time, sometimes, modern events can feel like matchup lotteries.
Yes.
When
very much so.
The players in the event are of generally the same skill level. You know, where those sorts of things aren't in play quite so much. You can have a real good day based purely on matchups, and you can have a real bad day based purely on matchups.
Yes, absolutely.
And you don't see that so much in this standard format.
No, not in this standard. Absolutely. Now, interesting. Dan on turn 1 played his choked estuary and revealed a swamp, and he was on the play. I don't tend to be a fan of doing things like that just because you can. A, you're giving your opponent more information regardless of your second land drop.
Right.
There's not a 1-drop that Jake Valentine's going to play in his deck that you're going to want to kill with Fatal Push if you have Fatal Push.
Right. Yeah, that's fair.
So you're just really giving your opponent more information. So I tend to be more cognizant of that.
Yeah, I agree.
And Dan transgressing on turn 2, taking out Jake's Whirler Virtuoso.
You know, I would assume that transgress came in from the board.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
I am too.
I don't know that this matchup is necessarily the kind of matchup that I'm in the market for a discard spell if I'm the Grixis Reanimator player.
Jake tends to be the aggressor. That's not something that you would want to play generally on turn 2.
Right.
You would rather have mana open for a removal spell or play a threat such as Gifted Aetherborn, things of that nature.
Right. Which he did do. He did play a Gifted Aetherborn on 2.
Yeah, and he grabbed a Fatal Push with a strategic planning and killed the Servant. With Dan, your late game is much, much better. All you're wanting to do is kind of get to the late game.
Yep.
And there is, and you would rather have Doomfall because of the situation right here.
Indeed. So you got to wonder what came out for those transgresses.
Exactly. Dan's mana base kind of not doing him any favors here as well.
Well, you know, that's the thing about these 3-color mana bases that cannot leverage the fast lands like Temur can.
No. Or play something like a Tune with Aether.
Right.
It's not green based.
Exactly.
Dan decided to play Cletus here.
Generally you see Temur Energy and Mardu Vehicles as the two
premier
aggressive 3-color decks.
Yes.
And notably, both of those decks play anywhere between 6 to 8 fast lands.
Yes. Playing their 2, different types of fast lands that they are able to play.
Yep. And I do think that's one of the big things that's really held Grixis back in this format.
Yep.
Grixis clearly has the cards in terms of raw quality.
Yes.
To put together a heck of a deck.
Yes.
It just has to be able to cast its spells on time.
Yes.
And these comes into play tap lands.
Yeah.
These reveal a basic from your hand lands. That kind of thing.
Yes.
Sometimes, and we're seeing it here, can trip you up.
And generally, the Grixis decks that tend to do the best are ones that are 2-color based and they're splashing a 3rd color.
Right.
So say it's generally blue-red splashing black for Scarab God, or Nico Bolas, things of that nature. Not just strictly 3-color, because those tend to you'll like we've seen, you'll have a lot of lands coming to play tapped, and this is not a standard format where you want to be tripped up in that regard.
Oh no. I don't think really any standard format going forward is going to be that way.
No.
Wizards has made it very clear where they stand in terms of threats and the power level of threats. There was a clear admission by Sam Stoddard maybe a year ago when Standard was in a really, really bad spot that they recognized that they had swung the pendulum too far in favor of threats versus answers.
Yes.
And that we would start to see more, generalized answers going forward.
And we did with Fatal Push.
Indeed. Indeed. But Lightning Strike coming back.
Yes.
A card like that. So, given that.
Yep. And now we're seeing, one of the threats in Standard that going forward is going to be hard to deal with.
Indeed.
You're not going to have Grasp of Darkness anymore, as we just clearly saw Dan attempt to point at Grasp of Darkness at Bristling Hydra, and Jake has a follow-up Bristling Hydra.
Yeah, and this is not looking good for the Reanimator player.
No, and unless Dan plays Hour of Devastation in his deck, or Bantu's Last Reckoning is another answer to this that would...
I think Dan is going to be in the market to reanimate himself.
Yeah.
He's about to turn into a zombie.
Yeah.
At the hands of these Hydras. Well, at the heads of these Hydras.
And I'm wondering what he took last turn with his strategic planning, because he must have taken a Grasp of Darkness, but he had a Champion of Wits in that as well. I saw him pitch one. Maybe he wanted to grab that Champion of Wits and try to dig to a board wipe or something of that nature.
I mean, we need, actual damnation at this point.
Yeah. Again, Bantu's Last Reckoning. It is a thing.
It's a card.
It is a card.
It's made of paper stock.
Yes.
It's got ink on it.
Yes.
It has words.
Yeah.
It has a Magic the Gathering back.
Yes.
None of which make it playable.
No. And I'm just tossing out cards here that can maybe help the situation.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is within the realm of possibility.
Yes. Now, Hour of Devastation would have been a more likely card that Dan probably plays. That would have killed both those Hydras.
Oh yeah. And made Jake a real sad Magic player.
Yes. And Jake has to go just down to 3 energy, and then he's going to swing 11. Yeah, and then Dan is dead.
And there we go. Bristling Hydra showing why it's one of the premier threats in the format.
And why it will be going forward.
Absolutely.
As the Temur energy deck loses nothing from its main deck.
So, yeah, except, I mean, Game Trail.
Yeah, Game Trail, and it loses Lumbering Falls.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, negligible.
Right. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
It's going to be fine.
Yes.
So that'll do it for round 2 here at Wednesday Night Standard. GameSwap in lovely Mason, Ohio.
Yes.
We will be back here shortly. The round will probably not last that full half hour that you're seeing there in the time. In the meantime, be sure to check out Top Deck Productions' YouTube channel. If you're enjoying the stream, click on that follow button. And, boy, if it's really making your socks go up and down, click on that subscribe button.
Yes, absolutely.
All proceeds go back into the stream itself, into improving the quality of the stream. This is not a for-profit venture.
No.
At least not at this point, because we're not getting paid. I mean, well, not actual money, but you know what I mean. And yeah, so, you know, if you're digging it, let us know one way or another, either with YouTube subscription, which I think is free. I don't know. I've never subscribed to anything on YouTube. A follow, or heck, even a subscription here on Twitch.
There you go.
All right, we'll be back soon, folks. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you're enjoying it. See you soon.
See you soon.